Videos, theories, knowledge from all over the world that's going to make you rethink everything. We have to learn without stopping, right? This video is aiming to give you an emotional roller coaster. We are going to go on a wave with this. So let's just start.
So people are saying they found like a big serpent at the end of Antarctica. You seen that?
Antarctica, no.
Look, I'll show you.
Let me see.
You know in this is back to Revelation, but in the book of Revelation, they say there's gonna be a huge serpent or like a big dragon that's gonna, cause havoc on the world. They say this looks like a serpent head, and this is on Google Earth, on Google Maps. You've seen it.
Oh,
so
shit.
look at the face or look at the head. It literally looks like
a
a serpent, right?
I can see.
Now, what they're saying is this whole time there's been a dormant serpent or dormant dragon, whatever it may be, and then that's the one that will awaken when the world ends.
Damn.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Have you heard the Pope prophecy?
No,
Have you heard that?
No.
Yo, this is like the scariest because it's real. So in the Vatican, they found this book, right? And this book, it predicted every single one of the popes that became pope.
Really?
I had an experience doing the Passion, and Jesus visited me a couple times. I believe he was warning me. One of them was he was off the left side of my bed, and he was weeping. And I looked over the left side of my bed, and there he was. And I didn't hesitate. And I got on my bed, and I put my arms around him. And I said, Lord, what's wrong? And he pointed to the ground. And on the ground were all of these cards, jacks, kings and queens. Their faces were death faces. Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. You live in me, live for eternal life. When the leaf separated from the tree, that was their death mask, right before they entered into hell. These people were giving incredible gifts all throughout time. And they started with 1 for me, 9 for God, 2 for me, 8 for God, and eventually 9 for me, 1 for God, and then all for me. This is how the game works. And I knew that he was telling me. When I asked him, I didn't want them to see me. I only want them to see you. I believe he was warning me. Do you understand that where this could go? Because there's going to be a version of you going to heaven, and then there's a version of you going to hell. And I said, I will never betray you. I know what Peter said. I've learned from them. I will not do that to you. So when you asked me earlier, you've done this, yes, those are good things. But you don't want to have a 0 in your life. 1 times 0 is 0, but so is 1,000,000,000 times 0. You lose everything. So it's a daily thing. And finish the race and finish it strong.
You know, how come nobody ever told me that every time a man cheats, God takes his hairline and pushes it back?
This is a lie. Does that mean mine?
I wish somebody told me this when I was young. I wouldn't have locks. See, the locks are hiding my hairline.
This is a lie.
Here. Listen, I'm telling you
This is
right
a
now.
lie.
You wanna know if a man is a cheater?
This is a lie. This is a lie.
Every time he cheats, God takes his hairline 1 inch
Why isn't this funny?
back. It's just happens like that. If your husband,
Where did you get this
loses
theory
his
from?
hairline, if your boyfriend hairline is going back, that's God punishing him for cheating. You probably don't know, but God sees all, and his hairline is affected. I'm just saying.
Have you ever had a premonition? If so, you know that they can be very scary, but sometimes they just might save your life. And tonight's spooky story covers just that. So our story follows 2 women, we'll call them Kelly and Elizabeth. Now, the 2 women are college aged, they love going out, they love getting into things, and on this particular evening, they're at home getting ready to go out for the night with 2 guys that they're into. So Elizabeth is really excited about all of this, and Kelly is too. And while Elizabeth and Kelly are getting ready, they have this routine of playing some music, doing a little drinking, and turning on the television. So Kelly goes into the living room while Elizabeth is in the bedroom, and she cuts the TV on, but the channel it pops onto is the news. Now the news is talking about how there was some train wreck, and Kelly turns it up, but decides it's too morbid, so she turns to a different channel and then goes back in the room to get ready. So while she's in the bedroom finishing getting ready, she hears the phone ring. So she goes out into the living room to answer it. It's the two guys calling to tell them that they're on their way and they'll be there in about 5-10 minutes. So Kelly's really excited. She shouts into the room to Elizabeth to tell her to hurry up because Elizabeth has a long way to go. And as she's standing there in the kitchen, she notices the TV again. So she was kind of confused when she saw it was back on the news channel. And like earlier, the news channel is talking about a train wreck. Now Kelly is seeing this again, but she decides to watch it for a couple of minutes and she sees that it was a black car, and instead of stopping at the train tracks like it should have, it decided to try to beat the train. And so this car was dragged amongst the tracks. It was a very violent accident. Now again, this is really killing the vibe, so Kelly decides to turn the TV off and she goes back into the bedroom to finish getting ready. Now at this point, Kelly realizes she forgot something in the living room when she went to go answer the phone. And as she's walking back into the living room, she notices that the TV is on. But this time, instead of there being something playing on it, there's like a still picture as though the screen is frozen. So Kelly's looking at the TV and the image that she sees on it is the same black car that was shown in the news clip earlier. It's just all over the tracks. It's wrecked. This car is obliterated. So Kelly is standing there staring at the screen. The image isn't moving and she's getting this really uncomfortable feeling again. She just can't shake it. And she hasn't been able to shake it since they agreed to go out that evening with these guys. So Kelly again cuts the TV off and she goes into the room to get ready with Elizabeth. Now Elizabeth by this point is done and the guys are like 2 minutes away. So they're sitting in the living room again and Kelly and Elizabeth are talking and all of a sudden there's a knock on the door. It's the two guys, their date. So Elizabeth is really happy to see them. They look so good. The girls look good too. But as they're sitting there in the living room, again with the TV off, Kelly is staring into the screen. So there's something about Kelly's demeanor that's changed since they finished getting ready. And Elizabeth has taken full notice of it. Now Kelly is still sitting there staring into the TV and Elizabeth gently prods her and asks her if she's ready to go. And Kelly is like, you guys have got to see this. Now, the two guys and Elizabeth are looking at Kelly, but there's nothing on the screen to look at. And so Elizabeth is asking Kelly, what is there to see? The TV's off, Kelly. And Kelly's like, I can't believe you guys aren't seeing this right now. Are you not seeing what I'm seeing? So Elizabeth is looking at the guys at this point because the guys are looking at Kelly like she is absolutely crazy. So Elizabeth, trying to be a good friend to Kelly, decides to humor her. So Kelly says, we're going to die tonight if we go out. Now at this point, the guys are looking at both of them like they're crazy and they're getting freaked out. But they're looking at her and they're like, well, if you guys aren't going to go, we're just going to head out because this is really creepy. Now, Elizabeth is trying to get Kelly to calm down because Kelly is frantic at this point. She's hyperventilating and she's trying to stop the guys from leaving and she's telling them, no, if we go out tonight, we are all going to die. We're going to die in a train wreck. Now, the guys are really scared at this point. Elizabeth's scared. And the guys are like, you know what, Elizabeth, if you want to come with us, you're more than welcome to, but you need to leave your friend at the house. Now, Kelly is trying to beg her friend to stay, but Elizabeth is pissed off. She spent hours getting ready. She bought an expensive dress. She knows she looks good, and she's been wanting to go out on a date with these guys for a very long time now. So Kelly's kind of getting in the way of that. But Kelly convinces her friend to stay with her. Now, the guys are looking at Elizabeth, and they're waiting for an answer. They tell her that if they don't leave in the next minute or so, they're going to miss their reservations. And if she doesn't want to go with them, that's fine. They're going to leave so they can go out and have a good time that night. So Elizabeth, thinking they're a little bit dickish for that, decides she'll stay with her friend. Now, her friend is still trying to beg these two guys not to go, but they've had enough. So once the guys leave, it's just Elizabeth and Kelly in the house, and Elizabeth is pissed. She can't even look at Kelly. And Kelly is trying to cop a plea. She's letting her know what she saw on the TV. Elizabeth is just not trying to hear it. So she walks into her room and Kelly is left out in the living room. A couple of minutes later, Elizabeth decides to come out and get some food, and Kelly is still sitting in the living room. She hasn't moved from the spot that she had been in since the guys came over. But this time, the TV is actually on. So when Elizabeth comes out, she looks over at Kelly and then at the TV, and that's when she sees the breaking news story. There's been a train wreck, 2 casualties. And on the tracks, there's a black car. It was the same car that the guys had pulled up in earlier that evening. The same car that was supposed to take the 4 of them out to dinner.
What?
The same car that would have been heading in the direction that led over the train tracks. And so as Elizabeth is standing there, she's glued to the screen just like Kelly is. And this is when she looks at Kelly and Kelly looks at her, and Elizabeth breaks down because Kelly had just saved her life. So, if you've ever had a premonition, go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you feel like sharing, you can tell me what it's about. But let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you think Kelly saw the imminent deaths of her and her friends that evening? Or do you think this was just some sheer coincidence? Anyways, drop your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video.
Most people, they go to sleep and they wake up not being able to remember what happened. Okay? I remember everything.
This is Chris Langham, the man with the 200 IQ. Listening to him completely changed the way I see sleep and dreams.
In other words, when I dream, I'm conscious of the dream. On some level, I see what's happening. People talk about lucid dreaming. I don't necessarily get into the dream and try to change it. Instead, I just watch what happens. Something is trying to communicate with me, about something that's going to happen, already did happen, some situation that exists. And so I'm going to pay attention to that communication. And I'm going to try to decode this when I wake up.
Now, is that dream different dimensional dream, a different reality when you sleep? What is that when we dream?
That's a language. All of these things like that gorilla in your dream, those are symbols. They're the symbols of a language. So what happens is when you have a dream, it is actually speaking a certain language to you. What you've got to do then is try to interpret the dream, which means finding out what that language is trying to tell you. There was a message. Okay, how am I going to decode that message? So you work with the symbols you've got, and you can usually figure it out. If you actually put things, how does this relate to that? How does that relate to this? You can actually put those things together and come up with a reasonable interpretation of what the message was.
Stephen Greer shares a similar view on dreams, seeing them as a separate reality that can be controlled. Please pay attention.
How is it that during the dream time, you have a crystal clear, full color dream, and whatever that is in that dream happens the next day or the next week, or the next month, or 10 years later? How does that happen? Think about it. A thing that is experienced by almost every human at some point in their life, that's a sort of a signpost that says, you're not only what you think you are. All I'm going to do is help you remember who you really are and give you some techniques that facilitate the sharpening of that ability. You can begin to practice that on a nightly basis, and as you do it, you will be stunned at how accurate you will become in getting that information. Ritambhara Pragya, the level where all things can be known. Everything can be known, past, present, future. What you have just heard, I would say a handful of people on Earth know, even in classified projects. It's highly compartmented.
This is one of the worst torture methods in human history. Standing cells, known alternatively as stay bunkers, were a distinct type of punishment cell designed to prevent prisoners from sitting or lying down, forcing them to stand for prolonged durations. These cells were usually quite small and cramped, with sizes varying from those just large enough for a single person to others that could hold up to 4 people. Within these confined spaces, prisoners had no choice but to stand continuously, which inevitably led to intense physical strain and discomfort. The duration of confinement in standing cells could be extensive, sometimes lasting for days or even weeks. The design of these cells made it almost impossible for inmates to sleep, leading to severe sleep deprivation and further intensifying their physical and mental anguish. Moreover, the combination of isolation, lack of sensory stimulation, and constant physical discomfort in standing cells often resulted in significant psychological trauma. Prisoners subjected to this form of punishment frequently experienced heightened levels of anxiety and despair.
Why was Christopher Reeve cursed after playing Superman? No one knows he lost everything because of it. Christopher Reeve, who played Superman in the 80s, was in Virginia for a horseback riding competition in 1995. But when his horse suddenly stopped, causing him to fall to the ground and lose consciousness and breath, he suffered 2 broken cervical vertebrae and was on a ventilator for life. In 2004, he died of heart failure at the age of 52. Sadly, his wife was diagnosed with lung cancer the year after his death, but she never smoked. His close friend Robin Williams was devastated at their memorial service. Inexplicably, Robin Williams also ended his life at home due to mental illness. Apparently, those close to him ended up with a tragic fate. In the wake of all this, Christopher Reeve's child, Will, was only 4 years old at the time. In fulfillment of Reeves' philanthropic endeavors, his 2 children received only a $1.5 million inheritance. They say they will still fight for their father's unfinished business, but they are in control of their own destiny.
How did the small country of Vietnam defeat the United States? In 1955, during the conflict between Vietnam and America, the United States decided Vietnam should not exist as an independent country. Under the cover of night, they deployed numerous ships to Vietnam. However, even after the following day, none of the ships returned. Alarmed by this, the U.S. sent reinforcements, but communication with those ships also ceased. Despite being a small nation, Vietnam resisted fiercely, leading the world to question America's dominance. Unable to tolerate the mounting criticism, the United States launched a direct invasion into Vietnam. Upon arrival, they were shocked to find their ships and weapons completely destroyed, while Vietnam stood ready to retaliate. Against all odds, Vietnam emerged victorious in the war. When asked how such a small country managed to defeat a superpower, the president of Vietnam gave a remarkable answer. He pointed out the statues in many Vietnamese cities featuring a certain historical figure. He explained that Vietnam had studied the strategies of this figure to achieve victory. That figure, he revealed, was Chhatrapati Shivaji, a legendary ruler from India. This is one of the most horrifying execution methods in human history.
That's so interesting.
The wooden horse consisted of a sharp-edged, triangular wooden beam mounted horizontally on a sturdy base.
This is so cruel.
Usually stripped bare, would be forced to straddle this razor-sharp edge with their full body weight pressing
this would be so painful,
causing agonizing pain as it cut into their flesh.
Wow.
To intensify the torment, weights or heavy stones would often be attached to the ankles, person down even more forcefully onto the wooden edge.
Oh, that's so
The public
cruel.
nature of this punishment added a layer of humiliation, as onlookers could bear witness to the victim's excruciating agony.
What?
Over time, the pressure would cause severe lacerations, leading to immense blood loss and unimaginable pain. The wooden horse was not just a device of physical torment, but served as a brutal psychological deterrent, underscoring the dire consequences of transgressions in a world where mercy was often in short supply.
When you swallow a Plan B pill, it releases a powerful hormone called levonorgestrel that quickly enters your bloodstream. This secret agent's mission is to reach your reproductive system and stop ovulation. Levonorgestrel signals the ovaries to delay the release of an egg, essentially putting up a do not disturb sign to prevent fertilization before it even begins. But here's the twist. If you've already ovulated, Plan B activates a Plan B of its own. It thickens the cervical mucus, creating a sticky barrier at the entrance of the uterus, a gate that makes it tough for sperm to reach the egg. This backup line of defense works with your body's timing to help prevent pregnancy.
Something terrifying has just been uncovered by the U.S. government after drone sightings across the country, and the impact could be far greater than anyone imagined. In today's statement, President Joe Biden revealed that scientists who were only investigating these phenomena were left in shock by what they found, something that should never have been exposed. This discovery, as mentioned by Biden, could change everything we know about aerial security. But the worst part is that no one wants to talk about what was truly uncovered. Secret reports are leaking out, and the information is so serious that the government is trying to cover it up, as was hinted in the address. What these drones unearthed is causing panic behind the scenes. The consequences could stretch far beyond the states where the drones were spotted. Could something have been released? Something that could spread quickly and affect us all? The details are so dark you won't believe them once you hear the truth. What could they have found? This revelation might alter everything we thought we knew about security.
She was warned not to make contact
But
with
she
the
didn't
gorilla.
say- he didn't
She
say anything
decided to
about it.
ignore all the advice, and the worst happened. Sarah, a 24-year-old woman, had always felt more connected to animals than to people since she was little. It all started when she found an abandoned baby gorilla on the outskirts of a forest reserve. He was weak, with no sign of his mother, and Sarah couldn't bring herself to leave him behind. She decided to name him Doggo, and against all recommendations, took the gorilla home, believing he just needed care and affection to survive. But her bond with Togo soon became an obsession. They spent hours together, and Sarah began to treat him like a true friend, breaking many safety rules. Her friends warned her to be careful, but she was convinced Togo would never hurt her. Months passed, and Togo grew quickly. He went from being that helpless baby to a huge gorilla weighing almost 200 kilograms. One night, after a long day of work, Sarah, exhausted, fell asleep on the living room couch. When she woke up, she could hardly believe what was happening. Comment Togo for part 2 coming soon.
Oh my gosh, just look at this.
I wish somebody told me that the closer I get to God, the more I realize the people I thought had a relationship with God are actually very far from Him. And that the more time I spend in His Word, I start to realize that the people that speak for God don't even sound like Him. I was reading Matthew chapter 26, where Peter denies Jesus. And right before he denies Jesus the third time, something amazing happens. Watch this. Matthew 26:73 NIV. After a little while, those standing there went up to Peter and said, "Surely you are one of them, for your accent gives you away." It amazes me how in the midst of Peter denying even knowing Jesus, he can't help but to sound like somebody who does. The next verse talks about how he has to curse and swear in order to get them to leave. He had to sound more like them to disassociate himself from Him. And if our mission is really to connect people with Jesus, we have to ask ourselves the question, who do we sound like? Him or them?
Well,
That's wise.
It's very simple. I have a clone. I have a clone for music. I have a clone for film. I have a clone for my personal life. I have a clone for my family life as well. So that's how it gets done. And each clone is under contract.
Which one am I talking to now?
Well, if I told you that, then, you know, life wouldn't be as fun.
Do you remember the Got Milk ads? Remember that shit? That was everywhere in the 90s, 2000s, right?
Yeah.
Every celebrity had like the Got Milk, whatever. Have you ever wondered why the fuck was milk advertised that much?
Got Milk? I actually don't know why.
Take it in. So everywhere in school, right? Remember the milk lady?
Yeah.
They had
we had milk days.
The milk days, exactly.
Chocolate milk days. Oh, those are good days.
Would you say that's like almost the only food product that was ever advertised, almost like a PSA, is milk? Why is that?
Yeah, that is true.
Now check this shit out.
What?
Did you know the government pushed for the milk industry to be advertised and right in our faces to make us drink more milk? Did you know that?
Why?
So back in World War II, right? I think even World War I.
Yeah.
They needed something for the soldiers to survive on, right?
Yeah.
So they resorted to powdered milk and milk products for easy protein to survive, right?
Okay.
Now check this shit out.
Yeah.
After the war, because there was a huge demand of milk, they had all of these like milk industries, milk factories, milk farms, right? After the war, demand died, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's drinking milk like that because they didn't need it.
Word.
But the rich people already invested millions, supposedly billions of dollars into the milk industry.
Facts.
In order to, I guess, keep that whole industry alive, they literally paid the government to advertise milk everywhere and make it seem as if milk is very healthy for us. But
he said, actually, being attacked by somebody who's doing better than you is more common than being attacked by somebody who's not. And I said, explain that. He said, because somebody can do better than you financially, but your spirit aggravates them. If I had a mic right now.
This is deep.
Your spirit aggravates them.
Yeah,
There is you're watching this video, and there's somebody watching this video. There is an anointing on your life that even the friend you have who's wealthier than you, better looking than you, more educated than you, comes from a better part of town than you, went to better schools than you, has a better job than you, is still jealous of you, and you don't get it. It's because they see the anointing on your life. Your spirit aggravates people.
Tell me you've seen this.
Listen carefully. We've been taught in religion that the devil is the enemy. We've been taught in religion that the devil is the one who wants to master you. Jesus disagrees. He said there are only two masters on earth that controls man. and he never mentions the devil. There's something more dangerous than the devil, he says, and it's money. What wakes you up in the morning? God or the job? Are you so busy to get to work you never pray in the morning? I ain't got time for God. I gotta catch the traffic. God or money? Do you know that God never says that Satan is the root of all evil? The devil is a joke compared to money. The love of money. Not money, the love of it. 2 jobs, sell your body. The love of money is the root. What motivates you? Is it God or money? You can't do both, he says. Either love the one or hate the other. So according to Jesus, his conclusion was that every action of all mankind is motivated by either the pursuit of money or service to God. That's it. God is not against money, but God is against you serving money.
Part of the human body.
Belly button.
Answer C. Belly button. Which part of the human body does not burn in fire?
Does not burn in fire? The teeth?
Answer A.
Yeah, I got it right.
Which organ is responsible for cleaning the blood?
Heart?
Answer
Kidney?
A. Kidney.
Really? I didn't know that.
What is the main function of the nose?
To breathe? Smell? Breathe? Smell?
Answer B. Smell.
Okay.
What is the main component of bones and teeth?
Calcium carbonate.
Answer B. Calcium phosphate.
I got it wrong, man.
Which organ in the human body is used the most?
C. The brain. Yes, I'm very sure about that.
Answer C.
Yes, I got it right.
Narcissists, they rape your soul every single day. They're monsters in human flesh. Narcissists are people that when you meet them, they put on a show, a mask. And this mask lasts 3 months, some people 4 months, some people 6 months. And they love bomb you so much that you go crazy for them, and then they drop you. And they drop you exactly when they know that you're so attached to them. You think everything is your fault. And when they abuse you, whether it's physical, mental, verbal abuse, they make you feel like you deserve it. So you actually stay and you think it's normal because I deserve it. And they are master manipulators. It's not that it's coincidence. They're artists at what they do. And all narcissists have the same steps, which is crazy, you know, because narcissism is not classified as a disease. If it's not classified as a disease, why do they all do the same thing? If you survive a narcissistic relationship, you dodged a bullet, congratulations, but they're not easy to be with. They're crazy.
This man was abandoned by his family after contracting a rare disease, but 2 years later, they will all regret it. Theodore was a man devoted to his family, but his life took a dramatic turn when he picked up a strange illness. He's always been a hard-working and honorable man who did everything for his family. But one fateful evening, after returning from work, he started to feel a sharp pain near his mouth. Indeed, the pain quickly escalated as swelling spread to his neck, making it impossible for him to eat. Theodore then immediately rushed to the hospital, but upon arrival, he collapsed to the floor and fell into a coma. At first, his family was always there to support him, but after 9 months in a coma and his appearance changing drastically, his wife filed for divorce, and his entire family left him alone.
What?
His wife even remarried.
When he was in a coma?
And another man stepped in to take his place in the family. But 1 year later, against all odds, Theodore shockingly woke up from the coma. And what followed next was a stunning transformation.
Frito-Lay issuing a limited recall right here in the Northwest. The company recalling 13-ounce bags of Lay's classic flavor potato chips. It's because the chips may contain milk ingredients that are not specified on the packaging. The company says if you have a milk sensitivity, you may risk a serious allergic reaction if you consume the chips. The chips were sold in stores and online in both Oregon and Washington as early as November 3rd. The impacted lot will have a guaranteed fresh date of February 11th, 2025.
Lay's potato chips sold in Oregon and Washington are being recalled. Frito-Lay says some party-sized bags of Lay's classic chips may contain undeclared milk, posing a risk to those with allergies.
What? Allergy.
The chips are sold after November 3rd and have a guaranteed fresh date of February 11th, 2025. So far, no illnesses have been reported.
Up before you reach for a bag of these, Plano-based Frito-Lay is recalling 6,000 bags of its 13-ounce bags of Lay's classic potato chips. The company says they were sold in Washington and Oregon.
This is the clone banana. This banana is made from one banana over and over and over again. Now this is the banana that Savvy talks about all the time. You know, these are the baby bananas. So you got the baby bananas, and then you got the burro bananas, which are a little bigger than this, but they're also short.
And we've come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.